Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mouth of the Mark, a week in wrestling with Matthew Taillon and Daniel Schafer. This week has been a rather eventful week for professional wrestling.
Yeah, man, not too bad. Programming was pretty good. Felt like SmackDown was kind of a dud, but we'll get to that. It kind of always is.
Yeah, SmackDown has always been the redheaded stepchild, especially since the late 2000s, I feel, for like the better part of the last 5 years. It's just been an afterthought in terms of creative.
Dude, since Heyman stopped being creative for SmackDown, it's pretty much sucked.
Right. But speaking of Heyman, let's get to the good stuff. It was the
Right.
Raw after Mania. We had Heyman and Lesnar make an appearance. We had Seth Rollins being gold, showing off his brand new shiny WWE World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena showing off his United States Championship, and Daniel Bryan was Intercontinental Champion at the end of WrestleMania.
Dude, that was a great match they had on Raw too. The IC title match that was insanely good.
Bryan versus Ziggler was a great way to open the night.
Yeah,
If you're gonna open Raw after Mania on a high note, that's how you
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, and the promo was good. Obviously, Heyman's always gold. Like, come out right out of the gate, and I loved the suspension angle. I think it works story wise, because just kind of keep him off TV, keep him give him that special thing, have him kind of get screwed, and we talked about this already, but just kind of have him like pushing him more towards that natural babyface turn. That way, he doesn't really have to change his gimmick at all. He can kind of stay brutal and angry and the beast and. The heels can just kind of put him over enough to make him a babyface.
Right. And the thing is that Brock's got the same contract now as he had for the last 3 years. And
Right.
word now is that he's not going to be around till SummerSlam. And now, of course, that's room to change. But if you're going to have Brock off TV for SummerSlam, give the Authority some heat like they did. And even, it adds a little spark to something that is slowly becoming more stale by the week.
Right. See, I heard he signed for like 26 dates. So 26 dates that's a lot of shows for Brock Lesnar. Like that's a lot of like 26 dates a year is a lot of shows. Like cuz that I mean even if it's
That's
just
half.
TVs and pay-per-view, I think that's almost like that's half of a year's worth of TVs and all of the pay-per-views. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, I feel like he's going to work a little bit more, but he's probably just going to wrestle like I just feel like there's going to be more of him in a ring with Heyman and him like giving an F5 here and there or throwing somebody around here and there. I don't necessarily think there's going to be a lot of matches on Raw and SmackDown. Maybe a match or two on Raw, maybe. But I don't know. I think he's probably going to end up being on TV more than he was the last 3 years.
I think now that he's committed to WWE and has ended his UFC career, as he
Yeah.
says, we'll see more of Brock. And those 26 dates, they do disappear really quick. But in terms of it's he's not doing house shows, so
Right.
that's a big chunk there. He's not going to do SmackDown. I mean, Brock's
Right.
going to be live. He's not going to be taped.
Right.
And Brock, and I'm going to quote him whenever I say this, he's a prize fighter, baby. He ain't going to fight for free. So you won't see him
Yeah.
fight on Raw. You'll see
Right.
segments, you'll get Heyman talking, you'll get the beatdowns,
I
all
don't
that
know,
stuff.
dude. I really think they'll use him like in the lull period, like when playoffs start for NFL and Raw goes down to like 1.6 million viewers. Like I think they'll probably throw maybe one match in, or do something like they did this last Monday, where you really think you're gonna get a match and then it doesn't happen. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah. And they'll be smarter whenever they won't book him for the match at the second hour mark. They'll wait until like
the main
the
event. Yeah.
start of the third hour or the
Yeah.
start, that last half of that third hour. That way you've got the viewers suspended for that 3 hour of time.
Yeah.
And it's a smart way of doing it with Brock.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep the ratings the
so
whole show. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm anxious to see what he does as a face. I'm a huge Lesnar mark. You not so much, but it's
I don't know,
okay.
dude. He won me over at Mania. Like at Mania, I felt like it was the first time where he really was a seller again. Like he all those matches with Cena, he was just incredible hulking him. I mean, you could tell he was getting potatoed, and he'd barely do the big man swing the arm thing, and it's like, with Roman Reigns, I mean, he sold really well, and it was like, wow, like you're a pro wrestler again. Like that
Yeah.
was my whole thing with Brock. It felt like it was just about the money, and he really did not care about pro wrestling at all anymore. But now I feel like that he's re-signed, and the Mania match, it's like, okay, I'm excited about Brock Lesnar again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Notes from Raw, saw a lot of NXT talent come up. Neville
Yeah,
came up, which I don't know how I like the idea of the Mighty Mouse gimmick. Uh, if it continues to play like it played on Monday, it's cool. He comes in with the cape, he kicks ass. Okay,
yeah,
no problem, no problem. Build him like you built Rey Mysterio. Have him be the ultimate underdog.
yeah.
No problem. That's fine. But at some point the cape's gonna have to go, and I don't know
Just
how
don't
I
turn
like.
him into the Hurricane.
Right, right. Don't Shane Helms him. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, Neville's a cool name. I like Adrian Neville, but
yeah.
you know, but I'm not gonna complain about a name.
Well,
Like
they're just calling him Neville on Raw, and I mean that's
right.
fine. Like they did the same thing with Rusev, and that worked out.
And
So like,
Cesaro. They
yeah,
took away.
Cesaro, yeah,
Cesaro was around for almost like what, 6 months, a year, and then they took
yeah,
away Antonio.
yeah.
So, we saw the Lucha Dragons come up, which was cool. Kalisto stole that tag team match,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like, instantly. Uh, and he got the win, so that was cool.
Yeah,
Really, really great work in that match by Cesaro and Kalisto. I mean, that was, without a doubt, it was high up on my list of moments from Raw.
yeah.
Um, I was looking for Charlotte. I was hoping to see Charlotte.
Well, I think that now that AJ has made a retirement, we're gonna see her a lot sooner than later, for sure.
Yeah, and that was a big deal. I mean, AJ retiring, that was a big thing
Yeah,
this week. There's rumors flying around that she's pregnant. I don't know. Like everybody's using those pictures of her and Bailey in the back, as like, oh, proof she's pregnant. But I mean, AJ has trolled everybody before, so I
yeah.
I don't know. I'll wait for confirmation because I keep up with AJ and CM Punk all the time because I'm one of the guys who's going to be jumping to UFC and watching CM Punk fight. I don't care what anybody says.
I mean, I'll watch the fight at like a Hooters. I'm not gonna pay to see him fight, but I'm gonna watch the fight just to see him get his ass beat. Like dude, there's something about that guy that I've never really liked. Even when he was really over, his promo work is incredible, dude. It's incredible, and he's a really good worker in the ring. But there's something about we watch guys like Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or Mr. Perfect, and it's like their movements are so fluid and so seamless. It's like CM Punk was really good technically, but it's like you could tell he didn't have just athletic ability. You know what I mean? Like you could tell like he
He
had
was
just
going through the
practiced and practiced
motions.
and practiced and practiced.
Yeah.
He got good, but it just he wasn't naturally that guy. To me, I never thought he was the best in the world. I never thought he was the best in the world. I thought even during that time, I thought that's when Ziggler was definitely the best seller. He, to me, was a better worker overall. Maybe not a better character, but a better in-ring worker. I don't think he was ever the best in the world to me. But I'm just one dude with one opinion. So
Everybody's got one. So on top of the Intercontinental title match, we had Dean Ambrose versus John Cena for
yeah,
the U.S. title,
which
which
was pretty bad.
you say it was pretty bad, and here comes counter opinion. I thought it was pretty good. I let me defend it here. Uh, I don't like Dean Ambrose's rebounding clothesline. If he got rid of that little backwards bend between the middle and top rope, if it was just a rebound clothesline, like bounce off the ropes and nail them, awesome, cool, no problem. But that rebound where you kip up and then go for it, I hate it.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
it's just so slow.
Right, not only that, like it takes you out of that realm of belief. You need
Yeah.
that suspension of disbelief. And when you see him go for that rebound, you're like, there's no way that he's going to take that. There's no way that he's going to get hit with that. You know what I mean? Because, it's coming.
Yeah, maybe if he missed it every time, like Flair going to the top rope, it'd be okay.
Right.
But yeah, I agree.
And yeah, Ambrose, he botched the tornado bomb, but whatever. Like, who cares? But
I mean, I do. It's live
well,
TV. It's a title match. I
of
mean, dude,
course it
I
is.
just feel like everybody always gives Dean Ambrose the benefit of the doubt, and I like, dude, I know, like, I feel like everyone's gonna hate me on this podcast, but it's just like I put down, like, it's not that I put down these guys. It's just like I feel like everyone has gotten so comfortable. It's like they're just accepting it. Like it's like, I'm not trying to be like a back in my day kind of guy, but even like the early 2000s, workers were better. They were just better. Like I mean,
Well, yeah.
it's sad that like right now it's like everybody has to defend Dean Ambrose. It's like when was the last time you saw a match on Raw, even against a guy like John Cena, who's pretty unorthodox, and a lot of people say he can't work. When was the last time you saw that big of a botch spot in a John Cena match on Raw? Years, dude. It's been years, years. Edge was the last person to give a really bad botch spot. Edge is great. No problem with Edge, and it was honestly John Cena messing up the spot too. But it's just I don't know. I feel like Dean Ambrose is always getting this defense, like, oh, well, he's gonna be whatever. Same thing with Roman Reigns. Well, he's gonna be whatever. It's like, dude, when was it okay for WWE to put these guys in these star spots when it's like, well, they're gonna be something? Like,
Well, I've been a fan of Ambrose since day one. I mean, the
yeah,
guy's, I like him on the mic, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people think he's crazy and sporadic, but I think that's what makes it. Because, I mean, I don't like how they package him as the lunatic fringe. Like, I don't like that. I think that's the stupidest name ever. But I like him as a talent, and he didn't entirely botch it. He just fell. Like, he lost his footing. And I'm not defending it. It's a botch. Whatever.
yeah,
It's going to be on Botchamania. It's going to happen. And I get it, but the match itself, for the spots that were there, I liked. What I didn't like was Super Cena being Super Cena. And I'm a fan of John Cena. I wasn't for a long time because I was sick of him, but you respect the guy's work. He's
yeah.
been there for forever.
That's the best way to describe it. Yeah,
Right. He's been there for forever, and he's shown that he can work, and the work he's doing now is because it's what works for the business.
yeah.
You know,
And I like him having a secondary title. I can't
me
like
too.
I'm more invested in him in the mid card, just because to me he has more room and there are more guys that he can work with instead of just like always trying to
Yep.
put the biggest heel with him, always trying to put the biggest heel
Yep.
with him. And it's just like, man, I would much rather him see him work Stardust. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like I'd
Yeah.
rather see him work like put him against the Ascension in a handicap type situation. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like why
Or
not?
like, and now in the mid card, if they do something like they did at Capital Punishment, and you've got John Cena versus R-Truth, it makes sense because it's a mid card title now, and not the WWE title. And don't get me wrong, I like Truth. I like
Love
Truth a
Truth, dude.
lot.
Give Truth a
But
chance.
but Truth going for the WWE title back then made no sense.
I don't
Truth
know. He was
facing
pretty
Cena.
hot, dude. I mean, he had a really hot heel turn for a minute, and I on it like I kind of feel the opposite about it. I feel like if they would have kept going with him and didn't make the little Jimmy thing so like funny. Like I know it naturally happened, but like and that kind of shot him in the foot. But like I don't know if they would have got rid of the little kid imaginary best friend, which is super weird to begin with. Like if they would have just not done that and kept him just crazy R-Truth, like I really think he could have sustained a really long-term heel run. But you just don't see long-term heel runs, period, because of Super Cena. It's like as soon as
Right.
you run 2 to 3 pay-per-views with John Cena, you're back at the mid-card no matter what. No matter how well you put him over, no matter how hard you work, no matter how good your matches were, you're going back to the mid-card because we all know John Cena's not going to go to the mid-card. And I'm really happy that now it's like, okay, well, let's just put John Cena in the mid-card for the while. I mean, I think
Right.
we all know he's probably going to win the WWE title again at some point, but I feel like this time when he wins another world championship, it will matter more to everyone else because he hasn't been in that picture for so long.
And I agree. And I guess, like at the exception to the 3 pay-per-views with Cena and going back to the mid card, I know Bray did disappear into the mid card, but even after he lost to Taker at Mania, I see Bray Wyatt in the main card working against, Roman Reigns, Brock
Oh,
Lesnar,
yeah.
Seth Rollins.
That's where
He's
I think
there.
they're going to go. That's exactly where I think they're going to run this Randy Orton Seth Rollins thing during the suspension, and I really think they're going to put Roman Reigns against Bray Wyatt, and I think those will be some great matches.
They're both heavy hitters. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be Brock and Roman, but Bray and Roman is going to be some good work if it happens. They're
Yeah.
both really heavy.
Because they'll get more time.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Bray's a lot more multifaceted He's not so Suplex City. You know what I mean? So like they'll
Right.
be able to do more cool things. I think it'll help Roman Reigns get over to the smarks like us, because it's not like that was. I agree with. I think you said it on the last show that we didn't end up getting to post, but it's not that we don't like Roman Reigns. It's that he's a mid-card guy right now, and we all know it. It's like we know he's a decent worker, but he's not a main event worker yet. But if
He hasn't
you
walked the
do a
walk.
program with a guy like Bray Wyatt, and Jericho's about ready to come back to do another decent little run, and I'd love to see him as a heel again, especially now that CM Punk's gone. I would love him to go back into a suit and be the best in the world at what I do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That was my out of all of his entire career, to me, those heel Harley Race style promos that he was doing in the suits were the best stuff he's ever done ever to me.
And I agree. I like Jericho as a heel. I'm one of those guys who I'll cheer the heel if I have to. I don't
Yeah.
I don't procrastinate. Like I don't say, okay, you're a heel, I'm gonna boo you. You're a face, I'm gonna cheer you. I cheer who I like. I boo who I don't like.
Right. Which
So
is the smart way. Yeah.
right, exactly. It's the mentality of all of us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So and I said it then, and I'll say it now. Roman hasn't walked the walk yet. He's taken steps. Don't get me wrong. He put on a really good show at Payback and WrestleMania. So that's two. That's two in a row that he's put on
Yeah.
a really good show.
Yeah.
So give him a little more, and okay. I would have really liked to see Roman do what Ambrose did. Win the mid-card title, hold it for a little while, lose it, let it be a screw job, just like Ambrose's was. Ambrose was face whenever he lost the U.S. title, and he
Well,
got
he's like a
screwed.
tweener now. Ever since he dogged Daniel Bryan, he's not really a face anymore.
Called him a
And
turd.
yeah, yeah, but it was like, and then there was like no explanation for that. Like I thought that was gonna go somewhere. Like that would be kind of. I mean, I feel like Daniel Bryan would make me invest a little bit more into Dean Ambrose, because right now, like we were talking about his promo work too, and I just feel like he's. It's not that I feel like he's crazy. I'd be okay with him just being a crazy man. I feel like it's so forced. Like it's like you just look at his face and he does the shake, and like all of his expressions are so out there that it's like, dude, you're so
Right.
phony. Like to
But
me,
and,
I don't know. Like I know everybody's like, oh, he's been this way since his indie days. It's like, okay, well then he's been forcing it since his indie days. Like I mean,
but not as much. Go watch his old stuff. Like, go watch all of Ambrose's old stuff. He's been cheesy since he's broken away from the Shield, since he's become the lunatic fringe. I
I thought he was cheesy in the Shield too, though.
really, because see,
Yeah.
I thought he was more organic with the Shield. Like, I liked his Shield work more than I like his stuff
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Me for sure. Like, I mean, I'm not like he was less cheesy, but that's just because he was sharing time with two other dudes. You know, like,
Right.
and to me, in the Shield, it was. I've always been a Rollins guy. I think he's always been pretty good on the mic, even though a lot of people think he's just now gotten good. I think that he's always been. Even when the Shield was face, he was sneaky. You know what I mean? Like he was always like just this sleazy scuzzball kind of guy, but he works so well. I mean, his work is top notch. He's like I said
Absolutely.
before, he's a 1997 Shawn Michaels. He runs away, but when he does have to work, he beats the shit out of the guy. You know what I mean? Like
97 Shawn or mid 2000s Edge. I
yeah,
liked. I compare him to Edge more because Edge was the opportunist
yeah,
guy, and Rollins has really done the opportunist work. The running away with the title at Mania was great. You know that because Edge didn't stay in the ring once he beat Cena. He bailed out. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
so like I see a lot of Edge in Rollins, and maybe in 10 years we'll just be like, holy crap, he's just as good or better than Edge. But I'm not
yeah,
going to say that now because I'm a huge Edge mark,
yeah,
and you got a lot of living up to do. Rollins is on the right track because I
yeah,
really like Rollins' work, but he's got a long way to go. He's on the right track. Just go, keep walking down the road and get to that point. Show
yeah,
me what you can do. You have the title now. Show the world, show all of us marks who are ready to watch you take over,
yeah,
show us what you can do.
yeah,
And I'm ready for it, dude.
yeah,
When I
absolutely.
when I heard his music hit at WrestleMania, I was like, holy crap.
It was perfect. I marked out. I jumped up and down. It was awesome. I
I
was
was
like I was
I
wrapped
was
in the
very excited.
show. WrestleMania was. I mean, this WrestleMania to me was a top 10 WrestleMania. Maybe not top 5, but top 10
And
for sure.
and it's funny because it's a WrestleMania that produced a top 10 show
Yes.
with a bottom 10 build.
Yeah. And a bottom 10 card on paper.
On paper, the card wasn't amazing at all. There were like 3 matches that I was ready to see. I was ready to see the title. I was ready to see the IC title match, the world title match, Bray Wyatt versus Taker. And part of me really, I was half and half on Sting and Triple H because I didn't know how Sting was going to work in
Sting looked
WWE.
great, dude. He looked better. He
Oh,
looked
I loved
better
it.
in WrestleMania. Like physically looked better than his entire TNA run, minus of course the hashtag bald spot.
And people are hating on him for that match, and that's another story for another time.
That was just
But
poorly booked, though, to me, honestly. Like, cause I felt like the match started off like a classic, old school NWA wrestling match. It was really good, and then all that Dusty work, all the Dusty
it just
Rhodes
became
finish
about the
crap, like,
run-ins.
all the run-ins, it just happened too soon. If they had even 10 more minutes of another good wrestling match, maybe get to a point where a double clothesline and they're both down, and then do the run-in, like that
Yeah,
to me would have made more sense. I just felt like it was too soon. That like they cut him
yeah,
off a little
for
too
sure.
soon.
Agreed. And I think the same. I think the same can be said for Wyatt and Taker. I would have liked that match to go a little longer. Taker just surprised the hell out of me. He looked so good. Like he looked 10 years younger.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean
I,
he looked incredible. Yeah, incredible.
so- and it's funny because for the last year, everyone's been like, Taker's gonna hang it up. Taker's
Yeah.
done. But he comes out this year, and now I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, Taker can go another 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Taker
Oh
can
yeah.
go
Oh yeah.
another eight
I
or
see him
10.
going to 25. So I think he's got 3 more, like 25 total.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, you mean WrestleMania 35? Because 25 already happened.
No. Yeah. 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 I see him going
I
like
could see that. I could see
yeah.
that.
Because I think he's at what? He's at 22 now.
No, he's
21. No, he's
23.
23 now. Yeah. So maybe he's got 2 more. I think. I think he's got 2 more.
And
I think he'll do a retirement match with Sting. He'll beat Sting, win another one, and then I think he'll give the rub one more time to somebody else. Because by that time he'll have 2 WrestleMania wins again. People will be back on the Undertaker's unbeatable train, and
and
I
then
think
put
he'll give
someone
the
over
rub
on top.
to a young guy, to maybe a Rollins, maybe a guy that's like have a few like worthy of the rub, and we know he's gonna stay around.
Right. Well, and see, me personally, I want to see him go. If he's going to go in the next 2 to 3 years, I want him to go in Dallas next year. I mean, it's home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that'd be cool. He's a first round Hall of Fame ballot, no matter which way you cut it. I mean,
Oh yeah, and he's in the next year that he retires.
right. If he retired, if he retired today,
Yeah, he'd be in the Hall of
go,
Fame next year.
go
Yeah.
into the Hall of Fame this year. And if he didn't, it'd be an outrage, and all of us marks would do what we always do and complain on the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is what we do. Yeah, and of course, that's. I think that covers about everything from WrestleMania that I really, really was surprised about. I was surprised Orton went over Rollins. I thought it was booked well. The match was booked well. I was surprised.
It was long-term booking. It was long-term booking.
Right, because it was a hard choice for me. I thought Rollins was going to win because I was banking on that Mania cash in, but my logic was, how do you have a champion cash in after he loses at Mania? But then the counter argument there is how do you have Orton come back as a face to get retribution but lose when it matters?
Right.
So
And to me too, it's like we all know, like like we knew that Brock's going to be a prize fighter. He's going to be a commodity. He's going to be a part-time guy, which is fine. I don't mind with him. I did kind of mind with The Rock, but I don't really mind with him. And like I think that it's like I think it was smart booking to put him over on Rollins, knowing they're going to cash him in, because that way, boom, you have your title run right off the bat between Orton and Rollins, and we know because of that WrestleMania match that it's going to deliver. It's going to be quality matches every time. Orton looks like he cares again, which he didn't during his Authority run. I know he hates being a babyface, but I feel like this time he's kind of into it. I honestly feel like in his mind he's like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna try to make some Cena money on merchandise. I'm gonna be a babyface as I possibly can this
Why
time.
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, that was part of the reason for, I mean, for Punk's babyface run.
yeah. I mean, right
Um,
now he's the top face. Right now Orton is the top babyface. He has to be because Orton's off TV, or I mean, Lesnar's off TV, and Cena's a U.S. title. So like,
well, unfortunately for WWE, Orton is the top babyface. They want Reigns to be that top babyface, but I mean, I we're I think he can get there, but they're a ways away from it, so they need to cash in on Orton, like they should have done with Bryan. Cash in on that Bryan that wave for like 6 months, and just
Dude, I love it because to me, the wave is still strong, and I'm a huge IC title mark to begin with. I feel like it's
absolutely
been pissed on for the past 10, almost 15 years, and I'm really glad that they're putting because I mean, like like when I said Orton was the top face, I meant like in the main event picture, but like the
right.
overall most over baby face, including Cena, is Daniel Bryan, hands down, and I love that he's building the IC title to be like the 1A title even. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
almost like I'm more invested in the IC title than I really am invested in Orton and Rollins, but Orton and Rollins is right up there. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what I'm hoping to see now? I'm hoping to see some champion versus champion matches that aren't squash matches for the WWE champion. I want to see maybe not like Warrior Hogan level, but like I want to see Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins where Daniel gets about this close to pinning the world champion and then Rollins runs away scared. Build that heat. But
see, what I think they should
Bryan
do
looks strong.
eventually with the title, because right now, since Raw and SmackDown has gone back to the way it was in the early 2000s and the late 90s, where it's not two separate shows, it's all one main roster. And now you have like your world title, and then you have two secondary titles. You know what I'm saying? And then the tag team titles. I know, like in the heyday, you had like the European title and the Intercontinental title, and that was okay for a while because wrestling was just so popular. But now I feel like what would be really smart of them is to take the U.S. title. Once Cena loses it, because I don't think it should be Cena that does it, but once Cena loses it to somebody, I think an NXT talent should come up, win the U.S. title, and bring that to NXT, since the NXT is going to be its own brand. You know what I mean? Since they're going to be doing, they're trying to get a cable TV show on top of their NXT network show. So like if they have two shows and you can put the U.S. title and make it a secondary title in NXT and have it be its own brand and just have the IC title be the secondary title, I think it would mean more to both shows for those titles. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or
Right.
even like just put like once NXT gets on TV, you could even keep U.S. title and IC title on the main roster and like bring the TV title back, and have that only be on the TV show for NXT and not defended
Right.
on the network show.
I'm a fan of the TV title mentality of being defended every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan of that, and that'd be cool to see Cena do that with the U.S. title. But moving, we'll get to Cena and the U.S. title here in a bit when we get to SmackDown. Um, but it's a cool idea. Of course, we just have to see what WWE does, and of course, like normal with the IWC ideas, they're not going to go with it.
I do think. I mean, I think that it's inevitable that NXT itself is going to become a bigger brand. I mean, Triple H, even during
Absolutely.
Access, he made sure every single time he talked about NXT, he made sure to literally say the sentence, "It's not a developmental territory anymore." He said that 3 different times in 3 different interviews. Like, I really think that they are going to do what I said they should have done with WCW. Like, even knowing that WCW was in the lurch, getting maybe 1 million viewers, it would have been smarter for them to just keep WCW,
And the
keep
talent.
Nitro on TV, and just, like, if Coke bought Pepsi, they wouldn't stop bottling Pepsi and selling Pepsi. They would just collect all the money. So this way, it's like,
Right.
why don't they just do that with NXT, have its own thing, and maybe at the big 4 pay-per-views, do a 5-hour show or a 4-hour show on those pay-per-views and give an hour of it to NXT. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Right. No, that'd be great. I'm all for that.
or even
Anything.
just keep having takeovers. Those are fine too.
Takeovers are great. Put takeovers on the network and offer them on pay-per-view,
Yeah,
and you'll be rolling in the money.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Because
some people,
worldwide, people will buy those pay-per-views.
absolutely. But speaking of NXT and Takeover, NXT this week, Sami Zayn came back.
We did.
and it looks like we're gonna get the continuation of Zayn and Owens,
Which makes
which
me think that they're bringing Balor up soon.
yeah, I think he is too. I watched a lot of interviews from the week of WrestleMania, and Balor said that if he's not on the Mania card, he'll be dead. So I'm I'm pretty sure Balor's coming. It's
Yeah.
I think Balor and Hideo are coming within the next 3 to 4 months.
I think a month, maybe two tops, honestly, because I'm pretty sure they signed like the way their deal was structured. It was 6 months in developmental, and they've been in for almost 4 months already. So I think
Well, and
maybe
that's
2 months left.
why I'm saying the next 2 to 3 months because I know they've been there for three at least.
But I think
Uh,
Hideo's done. I think he's not going to be on NXT anymore. Especially having that main event, the 2 out of 3. I was shocked that Breeze went over. I
I
love it.
know.
I was
I know.
shocked though. And like that was great. I feel like, dude, that guy does not get enough credit. Like he is so good. I mean,
Tyler?
yeah.
Tyler's amazing. I
Why,
don't.
dude? Even in like, all right, I understand that I don't think his gimmick will really get over that well on the main roster. So to me, the smartest thing for them to do, since they're building the tag team thing, is bring him up and put him with Fandango, and that would be an awesome tag team. They're both great workers. They're both really comedic and like kind of cocky gimmick.
And
It's like they
conceding.
look stupid, but they think they look awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome. I think that's great. I think they'd be a great tag team to work the Usos. I think they'd be a great tag team to work the Lucha Dragons on the main roster. I think they'd be a great tag team, period.
But here's what you do. You have to keep the selfie cam.
Oh
That ha-
yeah.
that has to be the Titantron. I don't care if Breeze gets a new gimmick. I like the gorgeous gimmick. I think it's awesome, and
No,
I think
that's what I'm saying. Keep the gimmick and put him with Fandango. It would be perfect. They could be like the gorgeous, like the Dream Team or something, like, you know what I mean? Like
right
the gorgeous duo or whatever, like, because
something
that's
silly.
pretty much what Fandango is anyway. He just dances instead of has a selfie stick. That's the only difference.
Right, and I think it could work. I really do. So Breeze beat Hideo in 2 out of 3 falls. Hideo got the first, but Breeze just won the next two. And to me, I mean, he won them like it was nothing. Like,
But to me, it was good booking because once Hideo won the first one, we all know how 2 out of 3s normally go. So it's like, oh, if you win the first one, 90% of the time you win the match. So it's like,
right, it was a
so we're always
swerve.
like, oh, and Hideo's going up. It makes sense to have him go over and they have this kind of like farewell for the last 2 or 3 minutes of NXT, and everybody goes crazy. It's a good little ending, nice little happy, warm feeling for your end of the week or whatever. But I mean, I think it's smart to put Breeze over because I think Breeze should be, once Owens goes over again against Zayn, which he will. I think Breeze and Owens would be an interesting, combinations just because Breeze is so flamboyant and so like almost like good cheesy with it that like Owens could just act like stone faced, like what the fuck is this guy doing? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it would be awesome. Like it would be great TV. I would love it.
So we had Rhino beat a local competitor, which to me just says they're going to build Rhino up to put Owens over.
Yeah, which is great. I love it.
Yeah,
Owens Rhino is going to be awesome.
of course it is. It's going to be great work. It's going to be hard hitting work too, and I like that. Um,
I think we're gonna get Rhino Zayn before we get Rhino Owens, which is gonna be kind of cool too.
do you think Rhino's going to go over Zayn, or do you think Zayn's going to go over Rhino?
I think it's gonna be the way they always do Zayn. He'll lose, but it'll be a screw job, or it'll be a lot of
He'll.
sympathy. They find a way to always pretty much. I mean, I think he's only won a handful of matches. I mean, I know he lost most of those Cesaro matches, but they were amazing, and nobody complained about it. I think he lost. I know he lost the Rusev match, the baby program they had for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
But it's like they always find a way to make him lose, but it makes sense. The Adrian Neville program, he lost almost all of them, and then finally won the title. Like
Right.
I don't
And that's
mind him
what
losing. He's good
I don't
enough
either.
where I don't care if he wins or loses. You know
I
what I
don't either
mean?
because he does this thing, and it's a gimmick that you have to be careful with, but it works. He does this thing where he'll lose, he'll go back to the drawing board, and he'll win.
And you
So
believe every time. Every time he goes back to
right.
the drawing board, you believe.
But it's because he's that good, and
Yeah.
he's not stellar. Like he's not blow my mind on the mic, but he's got that conviction where he means what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I think Rhino goes over the first time. Rhino loses to Owens. Zayn beats Rhino the second time, then faces Owens. I
Yeah,
think that's how they'll work it.
yeah,
Um, and we'll see. I'm excited to see how they do that. But I think that's kind of where at least that's going to be the rough idea of how they go with it. Um, Bailey beat Emma on NXT. Emma's working as a heel,
yeah. I'm okay with
which
it.
yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I wish, and Bailey won, with I think some roll up or something like
Yeah.
that after
That's the only
Emma
thing.
tried
The
her
only
little
thing that really
taunt.
bothered me about that match is that like you build it up with Emma slapping the crap out of Bailey and like it's like it's personal thing and they even have like they did that little their little WWE commercial where they just pretty much fluff themselves and like and then the announcers are like this one is just pure personal for all this whatever and then they get in and they have this chain wrestling match and it's not that it was bad. It was just like why would you do these lockups and breakoffs and walk to the corner and have them break up like why not just come out swinging hair like this is a personal match like I know that you
Right.
guys can wrestle I know you can like it's like I don't know like it wasn't bad the chain wrestling was pretty good especially considering the women's division that's kind of a weak point for them but it was pretty good but it didn't make sense for their story to me.
Right. And I can agree. I also didn't. I mean, I guess I like the image of Emma saying, stop pandering, and then she loses because she was pandering. I guess I like that aspect of it, but I agree. I wish I'd have seen more of a knockdown drag out. But
Yeah,
with the women's, NXT is the exception. But with the
yeah,
women's division, you don't usually get that, and I think we will get that at some point, because Bailey and Emma are going to go at it again. So it'll eventually come to
yeah,
that, I'm sure.
yeah. I don't really understand what they're doing with the Dillinger Jordan thing. I feel like they
Me
had like
neither.
two tag matches, and it's like they build it up to where it's a decent little match, but it's like I have no investment in either one of these characters. Like you only
Me
put them
neither.
on TV twice, and then they lost and broke up, and it's like why should I care about either one of them? Like
Right. They should
it
have,
just doesn't make sense.
if anything, you should have had them get within a hair of the titles
Yeah,
and then have the breakup. I think it was just rushed. Maybe because the dreaded WWE "we have nothing else for you" kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not invested in it. Jason
I think
went
they're just trying
over.
to. Yeah, I think they're just trying to push Jordan. I think they're probably going to drop Dillinger, and that's what it was. They're like, all right, we're going to break you up. We're going to make Jordan heel, and we're going to put him over, and then you'll get your remaining few months of paycheck and see it. Like
Right, right, and that's possible. I mean, and which is a shame because I don't hate Dillinger's work. I just haven't seen enough of it. And I guess
yeah,
the same can be said for Jason Jordan. Um, Blake and Murphy beat the Lucha Dragons again.
yeah, I like them. I think they're a great team.
They came out of nowhere. Like they were so random, and they won. And I was like, okay, this is kind of odd.
Yeah,
And
they had both been signed for over a year before even being on NXT, and then like all of a sudden, I think they had like one match and they went over on the Vaudevillains or something first.
right, they did.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool new little tag team. And then boom, like right into the titles. And then
Right.
like that new entrance, and it was like, dude, they get it. They're click, dude. To me, they're like they're kind of like a bigger, stockier version of London and Kendrick. You know what I mean? Like they're really fast paced. They're a little bit more heavy
Right.
hitting.
Right. Yeah.
But I like them. I think they're great.
Maybe a bigger, more brawler-esque type of hooligans, or a less like kamikaze version of the Hardys, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm interested, like I'm invested, and the Lucha Dragons losing again tells me that their thing on Raw wasn't a one-time thing. They're
Right.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that because that gives you know I think their first work is going to be New Day turns heel and New Day versus Lucha Dragons.
Yeah.
I, I've never seen Kofi heel. I'm sad that the first time I'll see him heel if they do this is going to be in a tag team, but I'm kind of excited about it because I want to see what Kofi can do. I hope they don't keep him face forever.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. I know he like really wanted to, and I know like for a long time he really wanted to be the Dragon. He wanted to be Ricky the Dragon. He wanted to be a babyface all the time. Like that was his choice. Because I know he was approached in like 2009 to do like a heel run with Cody Rhodes, I think, when Cody Rhodes was a babyface for a little while. Or maybe it wasn't Cody Rhodes. I can't remember. It may have been Ted
Oh
DiBiase.
nine, that was Ted.
Yeah.
Because Cody started doing the paper bag gimmick after Legacy, and
Yeah.
he beat Ted, and Ted left shortly after that. Like he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, they
stay
were. Yeah,
around
that's
long.
what happened. They were gonna do a run with him, and Kofi was like, "No, I don't want to be a heel. Like, just straight up, like, I don't want to be a heel. Period. It's not that I don't want to work with Ted. I just don't want to be a heel. Like,
No,
so I mean, I think he's kind of embracing it now because it's like, what else do you have left to do, bro? Like, we all know that it's sad, but it's like you're never gonna be in the world title picture. It's just not gonna happen. Like,
but
um,
but a heel Kofi against Daniel Bryan for the IC title, I would watch.
oh yeah, absolutely, it'd be great. It'd be great.
So so we get, that's what I see for the Lucha Dragons in the future, and they can work their way up. I mean, they're going to be tag team champions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, them and the
Absolutely.
Usos will be great. That'll be great work.
Absolutely. And I don't care if they're both face. I don't care if the Usos
Yeah.
go heel. I don't care if the Lucha Dragons go heel. I mean, it's going to be a great work.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see like a Tyson Cesaro, Usos, Lucha Dragons, old school TLC style. You know what I mean? Like just three teams, like big pay-per-view TLC match. I think that they would kill it.
They'll do it at TLC.
Yeah.
You know. So SmackDown this week, Naomi and Natalia are seeming that they're pushing their program a little forward. Naomi went over on Natalia this week.
It was a decent match. I don't have anything against it.
It was okay. It was your typical SmackDown Divas match, if you
Yeah.
ask me. Uh, you know, Miz beat R-Truth, which I was at. See, I don't like the on the gas, off the gas that they do with R-Truth, because R-Truth went from nothing to the Intercontinental title match, and he didn't do a lot of work in the IC title match, but he was built like he was going to do a lot of work in it.
Yeah.
And and now he just gets beat by the Miz, to where Mizdow comes out, hits Miz with a skull crushing finale, furthers that angle. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
and I
I
heard.
like I feel the same way about that, the way I did about the Stardust match on Raw, where they just come out and squash
Yeah,
Stardust for no reason.
yeah,
Like I understand it's like, well, he needs to get TV time. We need to get him on TV. Let's just do it this way. Like I feel like that's the exact same thing they did. Like Miz needed a rub, so he like looks like he can actually has a chance against Mizdow, which makes sense to me. I get that. I just don't think it should have been Truth. But at the same
right,
time, Truth got on TV. So it's like it's okay.
right.
I don't think it really honestly hurt Truth that much, just because it was such a quick match and the focus was pretty much purely on Mizdow and Miz. So it's okay. I really think that a R-Truth as a babyface, kind of like almost like Eddie Guerrero cheaty babyface would be cool against Wade Barrett, who just gets frustrated because he's supposed to be the heel that cheats. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like that would be really awesome little program they could have. But obviously, like because I thought they were gonna try to further the Ziggler Bryan storyline, but clearly that's not gonna happen. They're gonna put Barrett
They're
and
for
Bryan
sure.
together, which is fine. I'm fine with that too. Maybe we'll get the Ziggler Barrett or Ziggler. God, who did he just work? Daniel Bryan just worked him on Thursday. Oh, Sheamus.
Famous.
Yeah. Ziggler Sheamus match because I mean Sheamus came in and knocked his head off too, so that makes sense. And Ziggler Sheamus would be pretty good because I like heel Sheamus, and I think I still think Ziggler is still underrated. I would love to see a babyface Ziggler go after Rollins in the world title. I feel
Oh
like that would
yeah.
be an awesome program.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's gonna be like that's two of your. In my opinion, it's the top two sellers.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and it's close to the top two workers.
Yeah.
In overall, and you throw those two together, that's money.
Oh
Like
yeah, dude.
I don't care what pay per
That's
view.
that a one-on-one match at a pay-per-view. That's buys, dude. I mean, that would be a heavily rated pay-per-view for sure.
Absolutely. Uh, Cena is giving Rusev his rematch at Extreme Rules,
Yeah.
and I don't know how I feel about it. On one hand,
I
I
think it's
know
too soon.
Rusev, uh, and I agree, because I'm having flashbacks to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Wyatt went over before Mania. Cena went over at Mania, and then went over after. Am I doing that right, or was it Mania? No, it was Mania, Extreme Rules, Payback with those
Yeah.
three, with those, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was one off, but I'm having flashbacks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Rusev went over at Fastlane, Cena went over at Mania, and you know Cena's not going to drop the title back to him.
Right. Yeah.
But
That's why I think it's
Cena,
too soon.
right, Cena dropping the title back to him would be interesting as hell. But it's like, what do you do with Rusev after that? Win or lose, what do you do with Rusev after this?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the problem Bray Wyatt had for 6 months out of the last year.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
no, I agree. And also too, it's like, dude, no Bray Wyatt on Raw, no Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. Like, I feel like that's really stupid. I mean, even if it's just a promo to keep his steam going, because he's like, after that Taker match, man, like that was pleasantly surprised by that match. It was awesome, and
oh
I feel
yeah,
like I don't understand why they're not pushing it.
and I get the idea of selling the injury or sell. I mean, he's got the ankle problem. He was in a cast until he walked out, and he wasn't even standing. Like he was sitting until he walked out at Mania. He had tweaked his ankle that day.
Yeah,
So so I can understand if like they're keeping him off of it to make sure he's okay. I would have been I would have been okay with just like maybe a short promo.
yeah, but
But
that's
what
what
do
I
you
mean.
but what do you do? Like what do you do? Like you just lost to Taker. I mean, if you can't get in the ring and like I understand that like if I just lost to Undertaker, I want to thrash someone. I don't want to be seen until I can just thrash somebody and save some face. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So I can understand the mentality of keeping him off TV until he can work that foot and and get a work in, get his sister Abigail into somebody, work somebody over.
yeah,
So I get that. It's disappointing that he wasn't on Raw, but I can understand it. And it also adds to the selling of the match. So I was excited about that. I'm excited to see what Bray does when he gets back. Just like I'm excited to see what are they going to do with Rusev after this Cena match at Extreme Rules? Is he going to go over?
yeah.
Is he going to get the title back and be the Russian, or is he going to work a program with somebody else? I mean, Swagger, that's been bled dry for the last 8 months.
I think that Ambrose is in the cards for him next. Actually, I'm
Well,
pretty sure that I saw that on a dirt sheet that that's the plan after Extreme Rules.
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Especially considering, and it made sense too that having Dean Ambrose win the Open Challenge or whatever. So it
Right.
might, what would actually make sense is to kind of have like, since they're kind of pushing Ambrose to be a tweener anyway, is to kind of have him come out and maybe like cost a match, like that way you kind of keep Rusev, strong, and
Or
and that way it's a DQ or something, so that way Cena doesn't lose the title,
right,
but that pisses off Rusev, and all of a sudden you have a Rusev Ambrose angle. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, I like that. Or have something like where Dean's saying, you don't deserve your rematch, blah blah blah, and you work your way into having Rusev and Ambrose play out.
Yeah,
Um, I can see something like that happen.
yeah.
And speaking of Ambrose, Harper and Ambrose, man, like that power bomb
Oh my
through
God,
the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
I, I have been a big,
Through the
big,
ladder, yeah.
yeah. Well, no, 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 no. On SmackDown, Ambrose went through a table. He went through the announce table.
How did I miss that?
I don't know how you missed it
I missed it.
because I watched it. Because that match ended in no contest. There was no winner.
Okay,
So it
I'll have to
made
go back and
it
watch
made
that.
Harp it made Harper and Ambrose both look really good. Uh, Ambrose is just taking crazy bumps now, man. Like I don't get it. When it was the Shield, Rollins was taking all the crazy bumps, and now
Yeah,
I guess now Ambrose gets it where he's got to say, okay, I'm gonna take some risky stuff. I'm gonna make people remember me, and
yeah,
that's great. I love that. You
yeah,
know, I've been a Harper fan for forever. Since he was down in developmental, since he came up, I've liked all of his work.
yeah. I think his
And
in-ring work is great. I just feel like he's gonna be limited because he can't really cut a promo.
with
Like,
his
period. Unless you give him a mouthpiece that's like a new manager, like not Heyman, not like Lana or something crazy, like
right,
just somebody new. He needs a mouthpiece because he could be a beast. Like, I mean, he could be, or maybe Heyman cleans him up, shaves his beard, and like
Give
he's
him a new
a
gimmick.
powerhouse. Like
Right.
that'd be awesome. Like keep his name, but just like repackage his look. You know, like
That's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
the beard goes, the long hair goes, he changes his ring attire a bit. The guy can, I mean, he's not half bad on the mic. I've heard way worse,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So,
But
I
he's
mean,
not a main event caliber promo guy.
well, no,
He
but I
couldn't
mean,
have a 20-minute segment at the beginning of Raw on the mic. He just couldn't.
no, no, he couldn't. He'd need a mouthpiece for that, but he'd be a solid, where he's at now, the
Yeah,
Intercontinental
yeah,
title.
he is.
He
He's a
could be
solid
solid
worker.
right there.
Yeah,
You know, main event for SmackDown was Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan. Sheamus went over by countout. Uh, Barrett hit the bullhammer
yeah.
when Bryan was out of the ring. Sheamus is getting heat already, from what I understand. I heard that they're pretty hot on him because he worked really rough with Bryan. Now that's just WWE, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
Um, and I I I've heard a lot of Daniel Bryan interviews. I know he likes it when guys work rough. He
yeah,
he can't stand that kind of that light, really careful work. He likes that hard stuff where it lays in and it looks real.
yeah,
Um, so I like the match personally. It was your typical Sheamus match.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Sheamus's in-ring work as I am Daniel Bryan's. But Sheamus is your brawler. Sheamus is that I'm gonna knock you down.
The
I'm gonna
match
beat you up.
definitely worked. The style you can tell they can gel the styles.
Right.
I mean, it does really remind me of like back when Batista was decent, like the Batista Ray stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
almost exactly what that match felt like to me. Like like
Yeah.
Sheamus just kind of toying with him, and then all of a sudden the underdog gets hot and goes over, or gets counted or gets screwed by Barrett. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right. And I thought for sure they were gonna do Sheamus versus Bryan. Um, but it looks like after SmackDown they're gonna do Sheamus versus I guess they're gonna do Sheamus versus Ziggler and then Bryan versus Barrett because Barrett gets his rematch.
which is fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm cool with it because Barrett and Bryan's gonna be a good match.
yeah,
Uh, Sheamus and Ziggler's gonna be a good match, and then if when because I'm going to say when Sheamus goes over Ziggler and when Bryan goes over Barrett, Sheamus is gonna go for Bryan if I had to
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And despite the 18-second WrestleMania match, the two put on good shows. I mean, they've had 3 or 4 matches, I
Yeah.
think, in the past, and most of them have been very good. So
See, I think that
I'm
they're
kind of
actually going to go a different. I think they're going to kind of do another swerve with Sheamus because on Raw, Sheamus was when he was beating up on the guys in the corner, he kept saying Cena. So I'm thinking like they're probably going to have him go over on Ziggler, and then once the Rusev Cena thing is done, he's going to go with Cena. That's what I think is.
well, that's possible too. I heard that too. He was talking about backup Cena, blah blah blah. Referring to when he got taken out
Yeah,
for siding with Team Cena for Survivor Series. So I could see that, but the fact of the matter is Sheamus is going to work as a heel in the mid card,
yeah,
not in the main card like we thought when we thought Reigns was going to go over, where we thought Sheamus was going to be the next big heel to face Reigns,
right, yeah,
which would have shot Sheamus in the foot if you ask me.
yeah,
Just a quick overview of the last big two in the world of wrestling. Eric Young defeated Bobby Roode in a submission match with a figure 4 leg lock. I really enjoyed that match. It was nice back and forth. Classic heel going over. The face would have had the match won, but the ref was down. Eric Young wins in the end. Keeps Eric looking good. Bobby Roode didn't lose anything because he had Eric beat. So I like that. That'll further that feud. Gail Kim defeated Angelina Love. I've said it a million times to anyone I talk to. Gail Kim is, if not the best, she is one of the best female workers in this business. Her winning keeps her looking good. There's no complaints there. Magnus defeated Bram in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Awesome match. I wasn't really a big fan of Bram when I first saw him, but I'm slowly growing into a fan. The little sidebar of James Storm coming in really has me wondering where they're going to go with that. If they're going to try to turn Magnus heel, or if they're going to do a program with James Storm and Magnus. I'll be excited to see what they do with that. And then in TNA's main event, Kurt Angle defeated Bobby Lashley. It just a world title match to further that angle too. It seems like this TNA episode really just set up future shows. Angle got the roll up. Ref was in bad position. Lashley's shoulder was up before the three. Uh, cut clean and dry. Really basic. We don't want to finish this angle here. Let's put a false finish so we can further it where it means more. TNA needs to be careful with that. We've seen before from them where they've done too many of these false finishes and it just destroys the integrity of the match. I'll admit I didn't watch Lucha Underground this week. I read the results. I didn't actually watch. So Johnny Mundo defeated Angelico with Starship Pain. I did see the highlight of this one. Angelico went for a Hurricane Run off the top, and Johnny reversed it into a power bomb, which was cool. It was a cool spot. And then Starship Pain for the win. I haven't been watching the best out of 5 series between Drago and Aerostar, but I know Drago went over, so now it's tied at 2. We're going to get that 5th match. And, from what I've seen of the highlights of that, it'll be that 5th one's really going to deliver. And the last match was the Trios Championship Tournament. I didn't get to see that one, but the idea of a Trios Championship, I think it's a really good idea. I like it. Rather than have your 2 titles with the Freebirds kind of stipulation, the Trios Championship adds a little dynamic to it, and I think that's cool. But what do you guys think? Do you like the Trios Championship? Do you not? Let me know what you think. Also, let us know what you think about this week in wrestling. It was the Raw after Mania, NXT, the SmackDown that was taped right after Raw, and we had TNA and Lucha Underground. I apologize for not covering New Japan. I don't think I have Access TV, so I don't really follow New Japan. I watch Wrestle Kingdom 9, but that's about it. I'm a terrible mark, I know. But in the comments below, let us know what you think about this week in wrestling. This is Matthew Taillon with Mouth of the Mark, signing out.